Oi, 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 oi! Thursday club.
This is just the standard Thursdays.
This is the standard Thursdays.
Oh, mate, I wish I brought some in. I haven't got any beers. I've had a couple before, but
I'll spare one for you, pal.
let me grab that one. Cheers, man.
Oh, mate, if you would have come into your hand now, that would have been perfect.
Mate, we'll plan it for next week.
We'll
plan it. I hope that nobody's watched this, so it looks real.
Yeah, perfect.
How we doing, fellas?
Well, good, mate. How are you? You good?
Yeah. Ticking over.
Good, mate. Hair's looking really well, Chris. Really well.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, looking really nice. Yeah.
Like it. I've had a hat on all day. I've got like hat hair going on. But
I hope the camera freezes, Chris, so I can just look at it.
Yeah. I've got the curls coming back out here. I need a trim. I think tomorrow.
No, mate, don't let it go. Be au naturel.
Yeah.
You look like Lionel Richie, mate.
Nah, mate. He looks like you. Just let it go, mate.
It's frozen, isn't it? Listen, it was last week. I mean, it was amazing. Do you know what? I say a thank you because last week, I don't know about you guys, I got a few DMs on Twitter. We got comments on YouTube and Twitter and stuff. Maybe because of Alex Reid instead of us, I don't know. But we got some messages saying, great show, really enjoyed it, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, that was brilliant considering I could hardly see anything and I had no idea what was going on. So you guys,
you were running smoothly on our screen.
There's one little lick up where you went a bit still, but after that, it was fine.
Well, there you go. There you go. Listen, let's talk about the game the other night because I came out of that thinking it's not the end of the world. The league might be a little bit out of reach now, but it was already going to be a big ask.
Yeah.
But the others still going. If you're going to go into the playoffs, you need form. No one's got form like us at the minute.
No.
But the feeling I got, we interviewed Ben Hinchliffe straight after the game, and he was like, notably disappointed. Let's kick off there as players or ex-players or just footballers in general. How do you feel about the result of it?
As a player, if you come off that pitch, in the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking, we need to win this game to be in with a chance to get automatic promotion. Everyone who walks off that pitch would have been disappointed, but they've got no right to be disappointed. Look what they've achieved this season so far. They've done fantastic, and it's easy to say from the sideline, and as a spectator, you see it obviously a little bit different. Your emotions are a little bit different, but after taking a step back and in a couple of days' time, and you'll think, you know what, next step is next target is, cementing ourselves in the playoff final and getting promoted that way. Because the game plan is not going to change whether it's promotion automatically or through the playoffs. It's 110% each game.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, totally agree. I think where we're at the moment, the expectations are high. So with Ben saying disappointed, I mean they were a decent side. They're a very big, strong, physical side, and they give us as good as we give them. Really, they're on a run of good form. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst result in the world. It just so happens that we were trying to hope to nick the title.
Yeah,
that's probably gone now. It was probably a big ask anyway. 5 points adrift, with Sutton winning as well. So it's one of them things. But I agree with Liam. The expectations are high, and that always tells you, we are a football league club. At our very worst, we're a football league club. So at the end of the day, when we draw at home, we're never going to be happy with that. But all things considered, we need to finish as high as we can in the playoffs. To like Liam says, we've got to go into that with form, confidence, everything.
Do you know what I loved about the game on Tuesday? Not the fact, aside from the fact that I thought it was a good game of football. Listen, Dagenham came to win. They're in a good run of form themselves, and they've got something to play for with the hope of getting in the playoffs. So it was a good game, and we did push them and everything else. But one thing that I liked is when you go on big, massive, unbeaten runs, a lot of the focus goes on the attacking players, because especially when we were winning as many as we were, they're scoring the goals, they're making things happen up that end of the pitch. And then the defence get a lot of credit as well, which again, rightly so. They kept a lot of clean sheets. I think I'm right saying now more clean sheets than anyone else in the division. But it is a full team game. And Ben Hinchliffe, in the last minute of the game, has pulled off one of the best saves I've seen in a long time at Edgeley Park. And you just whether we win the title, get into the playoffs, win the playoffs, whatever, when it's all done, you look back and you think, that save has got us to, we would have lost the game if that goal goes in. And he's just managed to get this ball over the crossbar from point blank range. And it just reminds you that literally number 9, number 1, and everyone in between, they all play. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Matt, I think Matt, when we had Ben on, Matt hit the nail on the head. For him, the goalkeeper's most important player on the pitch. It all starts from him, whether it's on the ball, whether it's off the ball, dictating to his defence. The glory, the strikers get the glory. That happens in every division. And I'd go as far as to say, goalkeepers, get forgotten, not forgotten about, but they don't get as much praise as they deserve. And you'll probably think about, if you think about goalkeepers in the football leagues from whatever country, you probably think of a handful of goalkeepers that people class as world class because they see them in the limelight and they've put off a few good saves. But the goalkeepers at a lower level are doing that week in, week out. So for me, I agree with Matt. It's probably, obviously, bar strikers, the most important position on the pitch. And Ben's a fantastic player, and we've got a lot to thank him for. I don't think we'd be in the position we would be now if it wasn't for him. But yeah, it is. You don't really. Sometimes you don't realise, do you, when you're talking about the strikers and we're scoring goals and the unbeaten run, but you're kind of forgetting a little bit about the defence. The unbeaten run is there because the defence aren't and the goalkeeper aren't leaking goals, and everyone's gelling together.
Yeah, I agree, Liam. I think strikers get the papers, don't they, the next morning, and rightly so. It makes a special kind of player to be a consistent goal scorer. So that's spot on. But I think if you were to ask me, if I was a manager, if somebody said to me, if a board of directors said to me, you can spend 30% of your budget on a keeper and the other 70 on your outfit. 30% of your budget on one player and the other 70 on the rest. My 30% are going to goalkeeper because the confidence it gives to your back four, they can play a higher line knowing that everything's taken care of behind them. Corners, it's like Liam when you play centre half, delivering corners. If you've got a goalkeeper that's going to come and punch everything off, take everything out.
Yeah.
Or you're going to fancy him in 1v1 situations, or he commands his box, he organises his back four well. It's just absolutely invaluable. And I think if we go all the way back to the first 10 games, Ben made so many great 1v1 saves then that eked us out draws and eked us out points. I think we're very lucky to have him. I think he's a Football League keeper. I think we're very lucky to have him. And for me, he was always going to be the standout player this season. He was going to be the catalyst for the side.
I was just about to say that I think we're very lucky to have him, and I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't go up, which obviously we are going to. That a lot of clubs are going to come knocking for him because
he'll be getting sniffs. Definitely.
I think he's been outstanding throughout the season, and not only this season, but he's been consistent throughout the last couple of seasons, last couple of years since being at County. Like we talked about, it's not easy as a goalkeeper to keep that consistency and that sheet that shirt. And he's had challenges. He's had other keepers coming in to challenge him, and obviously no one's been able to take that number one shirt off him.
No.
But that's the sign of a fantastic keeper. You look at the high levels. I'm not comparing him to De Gea. De Gea had his reign, and he was the number one keeper in the world at one point. And now he struggles to get a game. But it just shows how important a goalkeeper is. You can be on top of the world 1 minute, and in the season after, and he's shown that consistency throughout for me, and he's a valuable asset for us.
I'm going to ask you both about the best keepers that you played with at County, but I want to start with you, Dicko, because I remember as a fan, and I did nothing more than be a fan while you were at County, and I could never quite choose. Well, no, I could, but I'll tell you who in a minute. I'll let you answer first. John Ruddy or Conrad Logan? I highly rated them both. Which one?
I can't comment because I barely played with either.
I don't know. It's a tough one. Hennessy.
Oh, well, yeah, you have to say him.
Wayne Hennessy was probably, I don't know, but Hennessy probably for me was probably the better of the three. Conrad Logan was a weird goalkeeper. He was just a short, chunky, unfit looking man.
You can say unhealthy.
But he was a great goalkeeper, great shot stopper, and he had an absolute ping on him. He's probably got the best ping from a goalkeeper that I've played with.
Could you define ping?
Strike of the ball out of his hands off the floor.
Can you show us?
Accuracy. Just pop the ball. I've just popped the ball.
7-9 out.
But no, honestly,
the bottle.
That's massive for a team. If you're a goalkeeper, again, I'm comparing keepers here, but you look at City's Ederson. He's ridiculous. The ping he's got. Yeah. I think he's got the most assists from the goalkeepers probably in the world at the moment as it stands. I think he's got about seven assists in the season.
Were either of you guys at County when Dean Henderson was there?
No.
County legend Dean Henderson. How about you, Matty? Who was the best keeper that you played with at County?
It's a very hard one to answer. I can name 3 or 4. Obviously, in my time in the first division, Owen Williams was playing in net.
Unbelievable keeper.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you may say different. I thought he was underrated. I thought occasionally he got a bit of stick that he just didn't.
He was also very young, so he had a lot of progression in front of him as well. And at the time, Ian Ormson was a baby. He was 15 or 16, I think. Had a couple of trials at City. He was electric. But then, Lewis King, another one. He come in. He was brilliant. Lewis, you could tell with Lewis, you could tell his schooling was there. He'd been at Sunderland, been at these clubs. You could just tell he knew the game inside out. He was great with his feet. It's difficult to say because none of them would be in the side, without being, like Liam says, hit the nail on the head. Consistency is what it's all about for a goalkeeper.
You remember the playoffs, and that was a big shock. Obviously, Ruddy had been in net throughout.
I do, yeah. I was on trial.
And what's that?
I was on trial.
Yeah,
you brought me to the game.
Yeah, and Ruddy was playing every game, and Conrad was on the bench, and then just randomly just mixed it up and threw Conrad in. Yeah. And I remember watching the video of the playoff semi-final, and I think it was obviously Keith Hill was commentating, or Keith Hill was in the studio. Obviously, they just beat Darlington. They beat
to get to the final. Yeah.
They beat Darlow to get to the final.
So, yeah.
And Keith Hill was in the studio. And he was saying what a shock it was, and it just zoomed into to Ruddy, and he was just sat on top of a ball, just think you could see in his eyes, is like, what the hell has gone on here? What?
Did you have any idea? Did you have any as a player? I mean, you can say it now because it's so far gone.
No idea whatsoever.
And I wasn't signed. I was on trial, so I wasn't even in the dressing room.
I mean, the team. You kind of know the team the day before, pretty much cemented. Unless it's like a last-minute random change or an illness or an injury or something, you pretty much know the team on the day before.
Well, you've worked on shape, haven't you? So
yeah, of course. Yeah. And we worked on shape with Ruddy in net, and then
to this day, do you not know why?
No idea, but it worked.
Yeah, of course it did.
Talking about legendary goalkeepers, at County, and people have gone on to do really well, and. When I first signed for County, we had Carl Ikemian.
Yeah.
And he was had some career. He was a very good, obviously he's had his health problems. His health problems, but we've had some great keepers, haven't we? Really, really good keepers throughout.
I look back throughout the managers. Ola Tidman. I thought very good goalkeeper. If memory serves, he went on to Sheffield Wednesday. But even when we dropped down into non-league, we had Danny Hurst for a while, who you guys may know from. Was he at Staley Bridge as well?
Yeah.
Really good, big beard, big long beard, didn't he? Really good keeper. Like you said.
I was going to say, Chris, sorry, I can't think of a time, at least in my time, between then and now, where we've had a good run and had a poor keeper or an average keeper. It's always been built around a strong keeper, hasn't it?
I can think of a couple. I'm not going to go there, but I can think of a couple of names.
Go on, drop them names.
Well, whether you can or can't, it must have been before my time because
there was
maybe after I'd finished.
There was one who played in. Listen, and we never do this. We never fish for comments, but I'm going to do it this time. People can drop the names in the comments if they remember a certain cup final. Sorry, not cup final. Sorry, a certain cup game away from home, down in London Borough, which a certain goalkeeper didn't paint himself in glory, and a former England international that didn't have the greatest of spells, but had a fantastic career elsewhere. And that's all I'll say. I think people will get there with those names. But
you've said enough.
Might as well write their name down and hold up.
Put it across the screen. Yeah.
I think I think Ben Hinchliffe, when in 10 years, when we're still doing this podcast and we still look fantastic with great hair and everything else, when we're talking about all the good keepers, whoever it is of that moment, I think Ben Hinchliffe will be in the mix with those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
If we do go up this season, which I still maintain we're probably one of the stronger favourites to go up, either in the playoffs or somehow magic the league. If that happens, Ben Hinchliffe will be a League Two goalkeeper with us, which was the same standard as some of those keepers we've already said. John Ruddy, who went on to have a very, very good career. Wayne Hennessy or Wayne Fon Williams. He'll have played at the same level as them. So I think he's a great keeper to have, and he's such a good guy to speak to. I mean, you remember when he came on the podcast? He of course. There's no BS with him. He's a good guy.
I remember when he went to Billy Davis left Preston and took him to Derby as a first year pro. Now that doesn't happen if you're not up to much, because Derby were trying to get in the Premier League, or they might have even been in the Premier League. I can't remember.
They were in the Premier League.
He said it on the pod, didn't he? He played in the.
So, I mean, it tells a story. He's very, very competent, very solid. Kicks like a mule as well. He can clear the pitch with no back lift. Just very big and strong, and he just must give great confidence to the back two and the fullbacks, because he's got it all sewn up.
So looking forward then, the rest of the games. Torquay at the weekend is still a big one, isn't it? I mean,
massive.
Especially with second place to play for. And who knows? Listen, it's impossible to say, the title's gone. It's all Sutton's now, because everyone remembers what happened a couple of years ago when we came up from the north. And I said it in my programme notes last week. When we played Chorley away and we lost, and Matty Warburton missed that sitter, and you think, we've lost the title now, playoffs it is. And then we had that unbelievable moment of magic where we're commentating against when County were playing Curzon Ashton at home, and I just remember someone tapping me on the shoulder and showing me the score that Spennymoor had scored. Glenn Taylor and John Kieran's going, hang on a second, and I'm trying to mouth to the guys behind me, verify it before we read it, verify it. And he reads it out that this has been verified. County top of the league. These things happen in football. Do you know what I mean? We can't write it off yet, but
that's the magic of football, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, mate, this is exactly. But even if that doesn't happen, we've still got second place to play for, which brings its own benefits. So Sunday is massive.
Yeah, done enough work this season now, to at least have a pat on the back. Whatever happens, we've done brilliant. And it's what we expect. It's Stockport County, so. Why not kick through now and just see it over the line? Whether that's by the playoffs or, like you say, a little miracle, see it over the line.
I'm hoping to go through the playoffs, so we can get to Wembley.
Well, is it going to be at Wembley?
Well, I'm not sure. Where would it be?
Still exciting, isn't it? Wherever it is.
Yeah, I don't actually know. I mean, in the north, it was whoever finished highest, wasn't it? And then
probably depends on who gets there. Where they play.
And all this business with the Champions League final. I mean, for me, the Champions League final can wait for us. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But whether it will, I don't know. Speaking of Champions League and that level of football, though, I just want to move the conversation on so smoothly, as we sometimes do, to fans. I want to talk about fans coming back in at County. But let's talk about this game, because as we are now, it's currently about just gone 7:30 on Thursday night. I lost track of the days then. So we don't know what's happening with Liverpool and United yet, but I'm hearing that fans there are stopping the game again.
Yep. I've got a few mates down there tonight, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, a couple of lads going down there. It's just plain and simple. They want the Glazers out, don't they? Yeah. And it's been ongoing this for a long time. And I think it's obviously the greed of the Super League. You know, wanting to be a part of that, which is nothing to do with not thinking about the fans whatsoever. It's just basically about money, which they're businessmen. I get that. They're there to make money, not to lose money and just want United to win games. They're there to earn money and to make money off the club. But the fans are there to watch their heroes, their teams play. And taking that away from them, that's just sparked it all up again for me. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot more protests that are going to go on throughout next season.
There's fan power, which brings us back to this and to County and Matty. I know you've spoken on a number of occasions about this season, about what the Cheadle End can do for you and playing in front of it and stuff. One of the potential benefits of having to play the playoffs is the fans might get an extra game back in the stadium because, you know, this whole restrictions easing or however you want to word it looks like it's happening. And what are these players in for? The new boys who haven't played in front of a full crowd yet.
I think they'll see, won't they? They'll see what we've been saying week in, week out, every Thursday. They'll, whether they let all the fans in or some of the fans, I don't know. But it'd be nice if they let all in. And,
I think it's 4,000, is it? Is it 4,000?
Yeah. So I don't know. I imagine that'd be spread out, but even so, it'll still make a bit of a roar. And I think what a time to do it right at the cusp of the season at the end, you know, and the climax.
That'll help us massively.
Liam can you can relate more than me. You've banged a hell of a lot more goals in than I have at the Cheadle. You know, it must be out of this world.
It doesn't matter what you say to the players. You can't describe it until they witness it. I mean, for me, I went from Woodley Sports, 30, 40, 50 people at a game, just to get away from the missus on a Saturday, to 7,000 fans screaming your name. It's like it's no matter what you think or what people tell you, it doesn't sink in until you fully witness that and fully experience that, and it's what a feeling. And that will boost us massively in the playoffs if we do end up going through the playoffs. That'll be a massive boost for us because you both know yourselves that when you go behind and the county fans are just behind you regardless, aren't they? Win, lose or draw, and that for me that pushes you through games, and that when your legs when you're thinking like, I've got nothing left in the tank, and you hear them county fans screaming, shouting, cheering you on, getting you through the game, you just get that extra 10% and that 20% and see games through, and that'll be a massive plus for us.
Well, Ben was saying after the game on Tuesday, he was saying the even bigger than that, if you like. Well, maybe not even bigger, just a different perspective. Was if you're either 1-0 down or you're drawing or whatever, and there's 5 or 10 minutes left, and you've got a corner at the Cheadle End. Imagine trying to be a defender, and you've got some of the best strikers in the league coming from this side, and 4,000 people on that side, sucking the ball in almost. The pressure on you to not fluff your lines, to not mess up, to not miss the header, to not miss the tackle, to not, let your man go or whatever. It's got to be horrible, man.
I can honestly see it now in my head. Honestly, it's one of the most vivid memories for me. Getting a corner at last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, Cheadle End, and just giving it to the fans, and the fans are screaming, "Come on!" And it's like the amount of time we scored last minute equalisers or last minute winners in front of that Cheadle End. Then when I first signed for County, I only ever scored in Cheadle End. I scored 7 goals the first season. That time, I signed in December. I scored 7 goals that season, and they were all at the Cheadle End. Or if we played away, it was always towards our fans. I think I was about the 6th goal of the second season when I scored in another net, and it just was like, got to run back up there now. Got to run up there to celebrate with the fans.
Giving it the knee slide in front of the Cheadle End.
Do you know what though? Liam says that it's a very vivid memory. I've got a very vivid memory of the opposite, and that was playing away at Oldham. And getting back to what you were saying about pressure, Chris, it's a horrible, horrible feeling when you've got this constant wave of pressure coming at you, defending for your lives, and you've got so many thousand fans sort of edging the home team on, and you're having to sort of shuffle across, not leave any gaps, throw yourself in front of shots, block shots, put your body on the line. How long can you do that for before you cave in and get tired? And I think that I can, you'll have done it as well, Liam, experienced firsthand what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that pressure. It's momentum, it's not nice. And I think when something always used to change for me when if we started the game the opposite end and finished at the Cheadle End, whether a goal down, 2 goals down, we'd have a massive wave of pressure going forward, and we'd just dominate the ball. And whether we'd always pull that back or even go on to win it, it's a different story. But we'd dominate possession, and other teams would just be shuffling across, blocking, conceding corners. It just must be a horrible feeling to be on the receiving end of that. So I see that as a massive advantage for us.
Yeah. I mean, it says it all. Obviously, it's not a rule where you have to set up and warm up and start the game on a certain side of the pitch. We used to choose that side of the pitch to warm up on because we wanted to shoot again. We wanted to go towards the Cheadle End in the second half. Yeah. Whether you work in case you were losing and you've got that momentum taking you through the game, and that buzz. And a lot of teams try to, tactically, they'll try and turn you around. They'll want you to go against the Cheadle End first half, so just try and kill you off a bit in the second half. It's a well-known fact. No matter what club you're at, that you want to be shooting against your fans in the second half. It just gives you that extra bit of momentum, that bit of tempo.
Can I tell you, I played in a couple of staff v sponsors games over the years at County, and my Cheadle End memory, we were attacking the Cheadle End. I mean, no crowd, obviously, so I can't relate to the thousands of people there. But I took a corner and completely spaffed it. Completely just slipped when I took the corner, shanked it straight out of play. So to try and deflect off me a bit, I've gone, the turf, it's the turf. There's something wrong with the turf there. And, last few minutes of the game, the groundsman was on the team opposite. I was playing against the groundsman. And he's obviously not taken too kindly to the fact that I've, given the turf a bit of grief. And I've scored in front of the Cheadle End, which is, you're giving it all this, even though there's nobody there. And it was one of these proper FIFA-style tapping goals. I can't remember who it was. Someone's passed it across, but I've milked it for all it's worth. I'm just about to absolutely lever it from 3 yards out into an open net. And that groundsman has made up some ground to absolutely go through the back of me just to remind me that there was nothing wrong with the pitch. Take a corner. That was about 4 years ago. I've still got the scar on the back of my ankle for it. But the joke was on him. The joke was on him because he kicked my foot into the ball and I still scored. So even though I could hardly stand up, I'm still giving it the picking the grass up and doing the cross in front of the Cheadle End and giving it all that because
when you get home later on and you go on teletext. And Chris Kamara's reading scores out. Jeff Sterling.
Rang the missus. I was like, tape 5 live, tape it just in case. Yeah, he's still there, the groundsman, actually, so I can't say too much. But
you already said it.
I'm in for some stick after this. I'm you, Liam. I'm a couple of bits.
Disable comments.
He's going to turn them off for this one. But, no, listen, lads. Look, a couple of big games to go. I think an update on this Pub Beer Garden podcast. I think we should probably wait until we know at least how the league's finished up.
Yep.
Before we do it, but yeah, 100% it's on. It's happening, and yeah, I think maybe wrap it up there for tonight.
Yeah, perfect.
What are we on the rest of the night? You guys watching the footy? If it's on,
I'm gonna go and get me tea now. Chinese, treat myself. It's treat night tonight, like every other night. Like, all right, pat down you.
When you ring up the Chinese to put your order in, do they go, "Is that Liam Dickinson? Is this Podcast Thursdays?"
Team strong.
Looking lovely. He's got a fake tan done. Everything.
Oh, look at that, mate.
From Costa she's from Costa del Salford.
Costa del Salford. I'm in London this week, and it's actually
Whereabouts?
I'm near Camden.
Do you know when you say I'm in London? Whereabouts? Everyone thinks just London is just London.
Yeah.
About, that bit. I'm just in London.
Yeah.
What's it called?
You near Camden?
You're off at Euston.
I got off at Euston. No, wait. Oh, I can't remember. It's a nice part.
Camden's gorgeous. Yeah.
Chelsea. You're in Chelsea.
No, not. Don't think so, mate. It's just London, isn't it?
It's just London. Camden's decent.
Covent Garden.
Yeah, I had an audition there.
Covent Garden.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Nice. Camden's cool. Camden's good.
That's where I'm going to go for a couple of Swifties after this.
Yeah. And watch the game.
Where was your audition, Matt? See if I can get down there and take a picture.
Say again, mate.
Where was your audition in London?
It was Camden.
What was it?
Yeah, studio in Camden. Yeah.
I'll see if they're still hiring. See if I can get myself a gig.
Yeah. Crack on.
Show them this is my audition. Right, well, listen, lads, I'm going to let you crack on until next Thursday.
We'll meet again. Oi, oi.
Cheers, fellas.
Peace out.